Hello, welcome inside the Chris Evans Podcast, a part of Second Banana Media. Simple, beautiful day here in downtown Guthrie. It is Monday, April 3rd, 2023, the day before the April 4th citywide election. Simple, beautiful here in downtown Guthrie, but again, a reminder, a high fire alert will be tomorrow on Tuesday, so be cautious out there, especially after the Simpson fire over the weekend. Well, Tuesday, voters inside the Guthrie city limits will go out and vote. Some folks will have two things to vote on, a city council race as well as a citywide question. For a couple of wards, there will only be one question. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. And let's go ahead and dive into it right now as we take a look at the city of Guthrie ward map. Okay, so Ward 1 is in the brown section, Brown 2 is the blue section, and Ward 3 is in the green section. We'll start with Wards 2 and 3. Blue is basically near the just south of Highway 33, all the way down to the southern portion of the city limits, past near the lakes. And then Ward 3 in the green area is the west side. There's a little bit of a Ward 3 over by the Dominion House over in that area. Those voters will have one question. That's the stipend question that we'll talk about here in just a few moments. For those in the brown section, that is Ward 1, you will decide a city council seat, and we'll talk about that as well in a brief second, as well as the stipend question. So if you're in the brown section, you will have two things to vote on Tuesday, April 4th. Some people have already gone out and vote. Early voting was last week, but most of us will be voting on Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday morning or evening. But we'll start with Ward 1 because they'll have two questions. And running for city council for Ward 1, who will be taking the spot of James Long, who did not seek re-election, and he will have his final council meeting on Tuesday, tomorrow as well. And it will also be the last council meeting for Leroy Alsop. Now, if there's a special meeting that might take place, but James Long and Leroy Alsop, the city manager, will have their final meeting. There's no other meeting scheduled when the new council and new city manager take over in May. But we all know by now, Kaylee Mills there on your left, Adam Ropp on your right, or on my left and my right. But they have, as you see, signs, and I'm sure if you live in Ward 1, they probably have both knocked your door seeking your vote and talking about the different topics out there. But one of those will be elected tomorrow night. So for all those folks in Ward 1, get out there and cast your vote. For everybody in Ward 1, 2, and 3, we will all have the same question, and that question will be around city council members and their stipend. And this will be the exact ballot that you will see when you go to the polls. And it's a simple proposition. Shall the City of Guthrie Charter be amended as follows? Shall Section 2.8 compensation be amended as follows? The mayor and city council members shall receive no salary, but shall receive a stipend in the amount of $300 per month for his or her services. Simply check the box for yes or no for your vote. And that's it. Some voters will just have that question. And so real easy, in and out. We'll talk about some voter tips here in just a second, but really shouldn't be long lines or anything. Should be able to get in and out, even for those in Ward 1 with just the two questions. So do have some tips for you. And by the way, speaking of Callie Mills and Adam Ropp, hopefully you were able to watch the city council the forum for that race. And we had that here on Guthrie News page, YouTube, and
Guthrie City Hall.
And Facebook. So if you're able to watch that, you want to go and watch that, you can go to Guthrie News page on YouTube. It's also an article on Guthrie News page. But that is Brittany Timmons and I being the moderators for that one. And Kenneth did a good job of answering questions, of some of the bigger questions that citizens were able to submit their questions. All right, some helpful tips and reminders for all those voters. Remember, I have an 18-year-old son that was able to vote a couple times already, but he's still new to the process. And also, a lot of people have moved into Guthrie. And so the first thing is, do you live in the city limits or outside the city limits? A lot of people get confused with that as well. And so the best way to decide if you even live in the city limits, hopefully you're registered, but The best way to do that is Oklahoma Voter Portal. And I just simply Googled OK Voter Portal, but the web address is oklahoma.gov/election/ovp.html.
So we don't have any interruptions.
But it's always easier just to open up OK Voter Portal, log in. And as soon as you do that, get to this page here, just click there. And then it's real simple from there. You just type in your last name. Then you type in your first name. And then I'm sure there's a lot of people who love to know what my birthday is. Not that it's a secret. It's too late to send me my birthday. No, it's not too late to send me my birthday gift. You can always send me a birthday gift. But you put in your birthday. And then here are a lot of options. Well. So this tells you your precinct number, your affiliation, but more importantly, it tells you your polling place, your sample ballot, upcoming elections, absentee ballots, voting history, county election board, voting districts, all that good stuff. So if you don't know where you're voting at, you can always click your polling place, and it tells you. So for me, it tells me I am voting at the Logan County Fairgrounds at 215 Fairgrounds Road, and that just changed for me about a year ago. So that is always great information to have at your fingertips, the OK Voter Portal, and it gives you a bunch of great information. You can see your ballot, what it looks like before you even head out to your polling location. Speaking of polling locations, they will open at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. They will close at 7 o'clock. And here are some voting tips for you when you go out and place your vote. Mark your ballot using the example posted at your polling place inside your ballot booth. If you make a mistake, don't try to correct it. Instead, take your ballot to the precinct officials. They will destroy that one and give you a new one, and you're off and running again. You do not need to make a selection for each issue on the ballot in order for your ballot to be counted. A lot of times, in more votes that have a lot more questions and office, it's easier to go through them and skip a couple and come back to them. Sometimes people forget about them and answer everything else, but maybe two or three. Well, the machine is pretty smart. The system detects too many markings for a single office or question, and area code. The voting device will cast votes only for those issues which you have marked. So if you do two or three or skip two or three, it will count those two or three that you did. Obviously, it wouldn't count the two or three that you did not. Ballots can be read by a voting device regardless of how you insert the ballot into the system. If the system detects too many markings for a single office or question, an error code will appear. The voter can choose to submit the ballot as it is or request a new ballot. If you need assistance or like to use the audio assisted ballot system, let the precinct official know. They can help you out. You need to show a proof of disability of the audio assisted ballot system. This is a big one here. Be sure to bring an approved form of identification. Yes, the poll workers will need to see that identification to make sure you are who you are in voting. Federal and state issued photo ID, passports, tribal issued photo IDs are accepted. You may also use your voter identification card you were mailed when you were registered. I lost mine, but my real ID works for me every time. If you forget, and just because they know you doesn't mean they're going to let you vote, you got to have that voter ID. If you forget your voter ID or your name is not found in the precinct registry, you may still cast a provisional ballot by signing an affidavit. Sounds a lot worse than it is, but a provisional ballot is sealed into a special envelope and counted after Election Day. Once the voter's information has been verified by the county election board, election results cannot be certified until all provisional ballots have been researched, verified, and counted. The Logan County Election Board will meet Friday at 4:30 to certify the votes. We will know probably who the winners are Tuesday, but the election board has to go through all that process on Friday to make sure it's certified and official. So when is the best time to vote? Obviously before work, after work, maybe during your lunchtime. But the election board offices, usually the slowest is during the mid-morning and mid-afternoon. But the election board says lines can vary from precinct to precinct. All voters who want to cast a ballot should be in line no later than 7 p.m. If you're in line at 7 p.m., you will be able to cast your vote. Again, not expecting a really big turnout, but I think if you get in line, it will not last very long. It's a real simple one or two question, depending where you get. course, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, be sure to leave a comment on this podcast, and I'll try to look out for those today. But also, probably even better advice would come from the election board. You can give them a phone call at 405-282-1900. Their office hours are 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Of course, they will answer the phone tomorrow up into about 7 o'clock tomorrow. But you can also email them at logancounty@elections.ok.gov. Be sure tomorrow, Tuesday, April 4th, I will be live on Guthrie News page as the numbers come in. I will share those as soon as they come in, and we'll see if the city council members will receive a stipend and who will win the Ward 1 race between Kaylee Mills and Adam Ropp. I'll carry that live on Guthrie News page. I will have a video where you can click it and be notified when I go live with that. So check us out on Guthrie News page, YouTube, and Facebook tomorrow night. Of course, this Chris Evans podcast is part of Second Banana Media. Second Banana Media is a podcast network. There are a variety of different podcasts on Second Banana Media. I think we're up to 10 now, with more to come, hopefully coming soon. So when you see videos like this, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. It really does help out our videos. It lets Facebook and YouTube know that people like you like this, and maybe they let other people see it. So always be sure to subscribe to us. You can also find us at secondbananamedia.com. We debuted a new podcast last week, Unsportsmanlike. A couple of high school seniors, buddies, got together, and they have a pretty cool podcast. Already a couple hundred views from there on their very first one, so more to come on that. But we appreciate everybody as always. Do remember, Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 is Election Day inside the city limits, and also a high fire danger alert. The ingredients are a little bit less than what they were on Friday, but they're still there with wind, low humidity, and so just be careful with that. County commissioners on Monday morning enacted a burn ban inside the county for 14 days. So be very, very cautious on Tuesday, April 4th. That'll do it. Hopefully this answers a lot of your questions. And if not, submit those questions or call the election board for more detailed answers. As always, appreciate you checking us out. We'll talk to you tomorrow night as we find out who wins the Ward 1 race and if city council members get a $300 stipend. Until then, have a great day.